Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey with Nicole and Azan on 90 Day Fiancé. Let's get to the show.
It has been said that Azan has a girlfriend in Morocco and that his plan is to get married to Nicole and then move to the U.S. to get citizenship and then divorce Nicole and bring his Moroccan girlfriend over here.
Is that what's being said? Who is saying that? That's pretty awful if that's true, but let's continue watching.
It's also been said that he has multiple women from all over the world sending him money, just as Nicole does. First of all, Azan, that was your voice on the recordings, correct?
I know. I'm very ashamed now. I feel ashamed that I can tell that's my voice. It happened, and I know that I did that.
So you see that smile. What is that smile about? And that would be something, if you were a client of mine, that I would really drill down on. I wouldn't yell at him, but I would note it, and I would definitely say what's going on at some point. I'd be like, so as you talk about this, you're talking about how you're ashamed, but you're smiling. That seems like it's an incongruent expression of what you're saying, what's going on inside of you. That can be sometimes indicative of psychopathy. It also can just be indicative of a youthful personality. It could also be indicative of someone who they learned early in life that they needed to transform their shame or their difficult feelings into laughter. Some of you might be able to relate to this, that when you see something really horrible, like a car crash and someone is very injured, that you might actually burst out laughing, even though on the inside you're like, I don't think this is funny, but there's something about my history that I learned that when I'm uncomfortable, I need to laugh. Is that what's happening right now? But it is notable. I don't know how to look at it.
No, it was wrong. I know. I have nothing to defend myself. It's a mistake. I did that. But whoever said that there's others, like from another countries, that this sent me money. Well, that's crazy. That's absolutely it's a lie.
Yeah, and who were you talking to?
I swear that I don't know to who. I don't remember.
Again, you see this smiling? And I guess it is a bit concerning that he doesn't remember who he left that message with. I mean, that certainly points in the direction of there are many, many women that he is doing this with. Now, what is he exactly doing? According to him, he's making these flirtatious / prank calls to a lot of different people. If that's what it is, then that's a certain level of transgression. It's not good, but it's a certain level. Or this is the tip of the iceberg, and his relationship with these other women are much, more involved, money exchanged, promises of getting married, maybe even physical contact. It's just hard to know. And we'd be stupid to believe him because he's lied. Now, it would stand to reason if you didn't want to believe him because he's lied and it looks fishy. So this is just the destructive nature of doing things like this. It's just hard to know if he's telling the truth or not because he's lied in the past.
Azan, are you telling me you dialed a woman's number from your phone and you don't know who the woman was?
I really don't know. Like, I've been drinking. I don't know who.
Wait, what? That's what he's saying is he just dialed a random number? That's his claim? Yikes.
Players gotta play.
Okay. And Nicole, when you heard those recordings, you were extremely upset, but you still want to marry Azan despite all of this. Why?
Because she loves me.
You're making light of this, Azan, and Nicole was very upset. She was crying. She was embarrassed. Let's let Nicole answer the question. Nicole, why do you still want to marry Azan?
Sean always has the best responses, the best questions.
At one point, we had talked, and we had basically started over, and from that point, everything was good. And I trust that.
You wonder why the visa gets turned down?
Okay, so for Nicole, she recognizes that he did something wrong, and they had to talk about it, and they did recovery from infidelity work, and it's been good since then, and she trusts him, it sounds like, at least for the most part. And that makes sense to me. Now, it's a personal choice that you make. I don't know if that's the choice I would make if I was in Nicole's shoes, but certainly a lot of people do make that choice. You experience infidelity, you're very hurt, you talk about it, the other person apologizes, you build trust back. We're not there. We're not ground zero. From the outside, it's like, oh, possibility of, players got to play, like that one guy said. Or another situation is the two of them are together all the time, and Nicole's like, no, I don't think you understand. He's not doing anything. I'm in the room with him almost all the time. So he's probably not doing anything along these lines. And I understand that he's kind of a youthful person who likes to do flirty pranks. And it's not a good thing, and he's working on it. He says he's going to stop, and I trust him, and we'll see what happens. There's nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with Nicole saying something like, you know what, deal breaker, it's off. There's too many signs that I don't like to see, so I don't want to be with him because I'm too worried that things are going to happen. He's already lied to me a number of times, and I'm going to move on. There's also nothing wrong with that. Both options, to me, as a clinician, are reasonable. There are unreasonable choices that I would identify, like if he was severely abusive to her and she just thought, oh, well, he's going to change. Or if he was abusive to the daughter, to May, and she said, well, I believe him, he's going to change. There are decisions that I would look at and say like, I don't know about that one. So it's not like I'm completely open to all choices. Maybe perhaps as a therapist, because I have seen a lot of things and I'm older and I've lived a lot of life, I recognize there's a wide range of possible behaviors that are going to work to get your needs met. And that's always what we're looking at here. We're not, often when we're looking at a situation like this with Nicole and Azan, we're just thinking like, well, what's the right choice? And a lot of people might look at the two of them and say, well, Nicole, you got to leave him. He's a dog. Well, that would help her to avoid being hurt in the future by him. So that's what a lot of people are focusing on. They're just like, well, he's a dog. He's going to hurt you. He's a liar. He's going to hurt you. So you don't want to get hurt again, right, Nicole? So you got to leave him. Okay. So that's correct. That's to lower your risk of being hurt by him. Leaving him would lower that risk. But there's a lot of other factors that it's harder to identify as an outsider, namely Nicole's desire for love, for attachment, for a future, for a family, and her very deep connection, seemingly, with Azan in particular. Not just any old guy, she is attached to Azan in particular. So these are needs that she is getting met as she has a relationship with him that can potentially only be met through him, particularly in the short term. And what's the best choice? There's a risk that he's a dog and he's going to get you in the future. On the other hand, he and you have a good relationship according to you, and you feel that connection, and you want to build a life with him in particular. So how do you balance those two factors out and all the other factors? Well, for Nicole, she's like, well, I recognize the risk, but I don't want to give this up. That I have with him is so special to me and so good. I don't want to give it up. And I, as a therapist, have been down those roads with a lot of clients where they will have much worse infidelity than this. And in the beginning, they're just like, this is a deal breaker. But then they start thinking about it. They're like, well, but I've built 15 years with this person. We have kids together. We have some great history. We have some great chemistry. And I don't think I'm going to find someone really quite like this person. So, you know what? I'm going to bite the bullet and I'm going to work on recovery. And that will take years of couples therapy to build back trust and to, have all the feelings come out and all the grief. But it's worth it to me because of the specialness of this relationship. It's easy from the outside looking at the two of them and not to identify with that, not to feel that love, that thing that makes the world go round and writes all the love songs and all the love poems. That's what Nicole feels for Azan. And apparently Azan feels for Nicole. And it's not easy to give that up. And it's not rational to give that up over smaller things. Now, it's up to Nicole to decide the infidelity, if it is a small or big thing. She has decided it's a small thing. And for us to judge that doesn't make any sense.
I'm just saying that from the U.S. government perspective, when you see all the people that really want to come here and have real relationships, and yeah, they have problems. But
Do
if
you
you're,
think this is not a real relationship?
well, they laugh about it like, oh, I'm leaving messages. Oh, I'm on my way over there to marry you. How serious can you be about getting married?
How you seem like you have something to say.
Looking at Azan, it's just the laugh. It's like what distract me, because like, come on, you're just talking about a future marriage, a future relationship, a future family.
Right. So I think everyone is picking up on the laughter and the smiling. They're also picking up on the seemingly naivete of both of them, in particular Azan, and they're reacting to it. So yeah, I think that their reaction is understandable, but to just jump to judgment and criticism, I don't think is fair to the two of them.
Calls somebody and leaves a message like that. There's something not right.
You know, now it's like I'll never do this stuff. Like I stop because I'm very sure that she's the one.
Well, he's pretty sure.
It's like, yeah, we have our problems, you know, we're crazy for continuing this maybe, but we're still working on everything.
Okay, we'll continue with Nicole and Azan a little bit later.
Yeah, again, total speculation, but I think what people are reacting to is the youthful naivete of both of them, particularly Azan, regarding this topic. Is it youthful naivete that he will lose as he matures and gets older, ever so slowly? Because usually, if you still have youthful naivete at this age, it's going to take a while. Or is it that he is a liar and a cheater and someone who doesn't care, and he's just covering it up because he doesn't know a different way to cover it up? Yeah, I don't know. It's impossible to tell. Perhaps time will tell as we continue to, because I'm guessing they're on another season. This can't be the end, right?
She said, Mom, Az and I have talked about it. We've put it behind us already, and we just want to move on from here.
And have you put it behind you?
I'm not going to lie, I have my reservations.
How have your feelings about him changed since you met him personally?
After talking to him, I really like him. Not to say I don't have my eye on him.
So it's good. I don't know if it's a good choice that the mom, Robba Lee, is making, but it shows that she respects her daughter as a grown adult to make a choice of her own in terms of who she wants to marry, which has been my primary concern. My primary concern for this family from the beginning, and those of you who've watched all these videos know this, is that for Nicole, in order for her to make a good choice, in order for her to know how to navigate all the different situations in life, Nicole has to feel like a grown woman who has her own competence, her own confidence, her own agency, and that people have her back. In order to have that, you have to be treated, particularly by your parents, that you are competent and able and intelligent and good enough. If you are treated constantly like you're not good enough, you will think of yourself as being not good enough. If you're treated constantly like you're stupid and you can't do anything right, then you will think of yourself as someone who can't do anything right, and that will muck things up as you try to make decisions in life. Some of you watching might know this for yourself. When you were growing up, you might have been treated as if you were stupid, as if you weren't good at things, as if you were incompetent in a lot of ways. When we are treated that way, we internalize that and we believe it to be true. And then when we're faced with a decision before us, like, should I marry Azan or should I not, we don't have our self to fall back on. We don't have a self to look at and say, like, well, what do I want? And what do I need in this moment? How do I feel about this? Because one, we're not connected with ourselves because we're being mistreated growing up. But two, even if we do see things, we don't trust it. We might have these notions of, well, I kind of feel like Azan is a jerk face to me, but you know what? What do I know? I'm an incompetent person who has no idea how to navigate the world. So what do I know? My intuition is telling me this, but as my mom has pointed out repeatedly throughout my life, my intuition is bad. So I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to try to make the best choice based on, I don't know, what other people are telling me to do, maybe even my boyfriend, because he's telling me that the relationship is good. So I'll do what he says because I can trust him. But I don't know if this is the right choice because I've never known the right choice because I was constantly told growing up that I never make the right choice. We don't want that for Nicole, right? We don't want that for Nicole. What we want for Nicole is to have agency, to feel powerful, to feel empowered, to feel good enough to make her own choices, to figure out for herself, what does she want? What does she want for her kid? What does she want for Azan? What does she want for her life? And in order for that to happen, the relationship between her and her mom has to be the way the mom is dealing with it right now, which is the mom is, even though she has reservations, as she just said, about Azan, as she should, because she doesn't know him well enough yet to say one way or the other, and there are some concerning things that have happened thus far. So the mother, Robba Lee, would be, irresponsible to just believe Azan for everything that he's saying. But she's also saying that I do like him. Let's rewatch that and hear what she just said.
Things about him changed since you met him personally.
After talking to him, I really like him. Not to say I don't have my eye on him.
Are you sure that he is not seeing other women?
That I'm not sure of.
So she says she likes him and that she's not sure that he is being truthful. Because again, she would be irresponsible to not say that. She would be naive to not say that. Of course, he could be lying. That's the thing about lying, is when you are caught in a lie and then you later say, look, I'm not lying, people would be dumb to believe you. That's why honesty is important to people. When you lie, and you're often caught, especially when you have a lifestyle of lying, no one trusts you because they would be stupid to trust you. Because how can they trust you? So understand the consequence of lying, and usually when people understand really the consequence of lying, they don't lie. If Azan could go back in time, I'm quite sure he would tell his younger self, Azan, do not lie. You will be living with the consequences of that lie for a long time. It seems like an innocent little lie right now. It's not. Don't lie. That's usually what happens to people. Anyway, but the mom is allowing Nicole to make her own choice. The mom is trusting Nicole's judgment. This is good. Now, is this relationship between Nicole and Azan a good idea? I don't know. There's no way to tell from this situation. Most relationships have at least some element of train wreck to it. If you really put shine the light of day on it. Relationships that you're in right now, or the last relationship you were in, I bet you anything, if you were on a reality TV show, there would be aspects to it that would have the title of train wreck on it. Certain conflicts, infidelity, certain chaotic elements to it. It's normal. We like to hide those kinds of things because we're so ashamed of them because of stigma, but it's the norm. Take it from me. As a human being in a relationship, and as a couples therapist, and as a friend and family member to a lot of people, train wrecks are the norm. So when we look at this relationship between Nicole and Azan, we can't look at it, or at least I can't look at it and say it's by its nature a bad idea. So it could be a bad idea. It could be a good idea. It could be something in the middle. We just don't know. But the thing that I'm always hoping for is that Nicole will be empowered to know herself and make her own choices and get the support of other people. Have her mother have Robba Lee to go to when she does have concerns about Azan, and know that Robba Lee will listen. Because at this point, Nicole doesn't have reasons to go to her mom for guidance because she suspects that the mom will always be negative. And we don't want that. We want Nicole to have a impartial support system around her that Nicole can go to and talk about things and explore things and allow Nicole to discover the best choice for herself without people imposing their will on her. And so this is promising for everyone's life together. I don't know if this relationship is going to work out. I want to differentiate that because I don't know. There's no way to know. And as a couples therapist, I learned this a long time ago. It's a myth that's out there to some extent that couples therapists are good at detecting good relationships that will work in the future as opposed to bad relationships. Now, there is a lot of research. John Gottman looked into this, and there are certain markers that we can look for. Criticism, contempt, these kinds of things will indicate the likelihood of a breakup. So we do have some gauge on that. But when it comes to like bigger questions of, well, do you think, if people, because people would often ask, do you think we're a couple? Do you think we should stay a couple, or do you think we should break up? Couples will ask me that. Individuals will ask me that. In my 25 years, or I should say early on in my career, the first 3 years when I was really in the crucible of my learning, I learned very quickly that I had no idea if a relationship was supposed to last or not. Early in my career, I would have those opinions. I'd be like, oh yeah, they should break up because this is a disaster. This isn't going to work. Or the flip side, this couple is awesome. They should stay together. And then other things would happen. And I'd realize, oh, my previous judgment about whether or not this couple should stay together is now wrong given new information. Also, we just don't know what it's like to be these people. So again, I see some promising things that the dynamic between Nicole and the mom has shifted since the beginning of us watching this family. Because in the beginning, it seemed very, very much of an authoritarian mother and a very immature adult child in Nicole. And things have been shifting. So these are good because that gives Nicole the maturity and the agency and the self-confidence to really explore things fully to make sure that it's the best choice for her and her daughter. All right, well, that does it for that episode of Psychology in Seattle, in which we follow Nicole and Azan on 90 Day Fiancé, Before the 90 Days, Season 3, I believe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, subscribe to the channel if you care to. If you don't, then don't, by all means. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.